All right, see if this sounds familiar. You're at a grocery store trying to make the best choices. You check the labels, you see low fat, organic, all natural. Seems legit, right? Well, what if I told you these labels might not mean what you think they mean? Today, we're breaking down the biggest food label lies and teaching you how to really know what's in your food.
We've handed over our food security to someone else, and they're here to help you take it back. It's the Farm to Table Direct Show with Ryan and Keith.
Hello, everyone. This is Keith with the Farm to Table Direct Show, and of course, I'm in here with my brother Ryan, and then also Dakota, aka Mr. P. We just want to welcome everybody tonight, and we want to say that we're very excited that you guys are all here, and we got a really exciting topic, I think, tonight. I think it's really, really relevant to our health, to our wealth, to our freedom, all of that stuff, and it's about are you smarter than a food label? Well, it's sort of about that. But anyway, I just want to remind everybody that this is an open chat event, and leave your comments over in the chat. And if it's relevant to our topic tonight and we think it fits well, then you might just become the star of the show. If not, you could run it off the rails, and or we could run it off the rails, either one. But bro, let's just get right into this topic. And to start this off with, we need to ask a question up in the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the people over in chat. And
Okay.
which one did we decide on tonight? A little fire starter there. By the way, what a fire starter is something that starts conversation, because we'd like to know what your opinion is, because we got our own, but you guys are superstars sometimes when it comes to your own opinion. It makes our show so much better when you guys chime in.
Yep.
So, well, we'll look at that here in just a minute. But the first things, we've got a few videos here, one by Dr. Mike. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into that.
What's up, everybody? Dr. Mike here. I'm incredibly excited to announce that this week's video is officially all natural. Check this out. Impressive, right? And you know what that means? No, you don't. I don't either. Doesn't mean anything. This week, I'm going to be talking about misleading food labels and my top 10 tips on how to be a more educated consumer. Number 10. Don't buy into the meaningless phrases. All natural foods can still contain chemicals. Even the FDA website doesn't have a formal definition of all natural. Plus, even if something is fully all natural, it still doesn't mean it's healthy. Your energy drink could contain more caffeine than you think, and that's courtesy of the guarana bean, which contains 2 to 3 times more caffeine than the coffee bean. And energy drink companies don't have to add that to the caffeine content on the can because it's part of their proprietary blend. You see low fat on the nutrition label and you automatically assume it must be healthy. First of all, you shouldn't be so scared of dietary fat. And second of all, most of these companies just jack up the sugar content to make up for the lost taste. Not so healthy, right? Your bacon says no added nitrates. It must be preservative free, not so fast. If it contains something like celery root powder, that's just another form of added nitrates. That's how they get you. Your food tastes really sweet, but the label says 0 grams of sugar. How's that possible? Well, it's likely that you're ingesting artificial sweeteners like aspartame. And while we don't have absolute evidence that it's bad for your health, what we do know now is it does change your brain chemistry and make you crave more unhealthy foods throughout the day. You're halfway there to the number 1 point that will make you an educated consumer. 0 grams of sugar added. It's a great thing, but you still need to check the nutrition facts for the naturally occurring sugar. For example, if you have a cup of orange juice in the morning made up of 4 oranges, that's 36 grams of sugar. Same as a Coke. But guess what? The label will still say 0 grams of added sugar. Don't fall for these unsubstantiated health claims you often find on food packaging. It boosts your immunity. It helps your skin stay radiant. Most of these health claims are often vague or exaggerated. In fact, the Journal of Nutrition Education and Behavior found that these claims appeared mostly on foods high in saturated fats, sugars, or sodium. Just stick to the nutrition facts and the ingredient list. Also, be skeptical when the packaging touts a single ingredient. Usually that's just a sleight of hand move to distract you from the other unhealthy ingredients found elsewhere. Whole wheat cereals, whole wheat bars, whole wheat bread. You think you're getting a true whole wheat product? Not so fast. You have to look at the first ingredient in the ingredient section, which is the most abundant one, and it has to have the word whole in order for it to be made predominantly of whole wheat. Number 2. Dos. Va. Light. That sounds like a great quality for your food to have. Light means low in fat, low in calories, right? Not necessarily. If a food tastes light, if it's light in color, it can still carry the light label. So don't get too excited when you see light in the title of your food. The number one tip, yes, the number one tip to make you an educated food consumer, look at the serving size. I've made this mistake so many times. I've gotten a container of soup and I said, oh, it has slightly more sodium than I thought, and then I ate it, and then I realized the serving size was a quarter of the container. So that means I had 4 times the amount of sodium I initially had. Now look, you get an ice cream container and it says 120 calories per half a cup. How many half a cups are in your bowl of ice cream? The FDA's even catching on to this one. If the entire container is likely to be eaten in one sitting, the companies will be obligated to put the entire container as the serving size. So there you have it. You are now an educated food consumer. Please don't stress about your food choices because stress is a true killer. Be smart, educate yourself, know what you put in your body, and stay healthy. Thanks for watching. 7. Your bacon's... Well, guess what?
Okay, I hope you guys are paying attention because here just a little bit later, we're going to test everybody over here in chat to see what you knew or what you know or what you've learned from this video about that. But I've got a question for everybody. And Mr. P, I want you to put it over in chat and pin that up there for people to look at. And that is if a food label is missing key information, should it even be allowed to be on the shelves?
Yeah, what should be
If
done?
Wait a minute. That wasn't the one we had, was it? I thought that was the end.
What?
That was the end question.
What should?
oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the good question.
All right.
You're a little ahead of yourself there, bud.
All right. Yeah. Well, maybe you're right. I am. But anyway, let's get
Wait.
back into this. Have you ever been surprised by an ingredient in something you eat all the time? What was it? Was that the one?
No.
No, you're almost
Okay.
there. You're almost there.
All right.
Agree. Some
All
labels
right.
natural or organic, but what do those terms actually mean? That was yeah, you know. But anyway,
Okay.
I'm
I'm
all
learning
set.
too.
yeah,
I'm
we're all
all set in the chat and pin it, so
yeah.
everybody can.
I'm gonna go ahead
everybody
and
can
put David's comment up there. This is very good. Labels are playing technicalities, politically correct, but not always morally or ethically correct. There you go. But all right, there it is. Some say natural. What do you think they actually mean?
Right.
You know, I think
Just
it's a-
pin that up there for me. And I'm just interested to know what everybody over in chat thinks about that. And like I said, here in just a little bit, we are going to have a test to see what your food label IQ actually is. And but for now,
Well, I want to, so say, the big thing with that, I mean, in what my takeaways were from Dr. Mike there, was that we need to ignore marketing,
Mm-hmm.
because that's so much a crucial part of that. What did he say? If it just has this word, they can claim it to be whatever. Well, that's
Right.
marketing. That's grabbing your attention with those catchy, cute little words, and it's, some would say trickery, And that's a good question. Trickery. What kind of tricks
Right.
are they playing on your mind? But we need to be a skeptic. We need to be a skeptic of everything that's on that shelf and pay attention to detail. Those were my 4 takeaways. Ignore the marketing, look for the trickery, be a skeptic, attention to detail.
Right. And Joy Bartlett chimed in and she was talking about the one that got me was celery root.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
hardly.
Well, I mean,
Right. And I just want to say to Joy, we think things are natural. You think if anything comes from a vegetable, it must be okay. I think that's where they got us before, whenever they talked about like vegetable oils and all of that stuff. I personally, in my research, I don't think vegetable oil or seed oils are healthy for us. You do your own research on that, but that used to be the popular opinion is that, hey, it comes from vegetable. It's okay to use that. And since that time, I think we've moved past that and learned that. And so celery root obviously sounds like a vegetable, and it makes you think, well, that's okay. But according to the good Dr. Mike here, that's something that we got to be careful for. And I'll tell you something else that's deceptive. If it says sugar free,
yeah.
what does that really mean to you? Does it mean it's okay to eat it? Because that's when you think, oh man, I'm going to get away from sugar. But there's a lot of different types of things that's in there. And those are the things that you got to be careful about. I used to love Coke Zero. I used to say zero is my hero because it saves me from, all the bad things that you would get from drinking Coca-Cola, which I really liked. And so, but you know what? I don't think so. I got to where I wasn't feeling very good about drinking that stuff, and so we got away from that. But so on this next video, bro, if you don't have anything else, I kind of want to move on and take a little grocery store walkthrough with this next video that's going to point out some label stuff.
Lean Nation, I'm taking you into the grocery store with me. We're going to check out some of the most deceiving lies that nutrition companies, food companies are putting on their packages. Let's go. Let's go into the grocery store and let's save you from making some of these mistakes. You can forget basically every rule if you just stay to the outside of the grocery store. The breakfast aisle, the danger zone. Breakfast cereal. Let's take a look. 20% vitamin D from Frosted Flakes. You kidding me? Now look at what you really get. You get a lot of sugar and a lot of chemicals in your food. Color, BHT. Ugh. Vector cereal. Now, this is actually marketed as being the athlete's type cereal because of 13 grams of protein. So many forms of sugar. The 4th ingredient is soy protein, the lowest quality protein. And the cereal only contains 5.5 grams of protein. The rest of that protein is from dairy milk. Here's another example of a high protein cereal, Special K. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Sugar, textured soy protein concentrate, more sugar, more chemicals. But cereal is a good source of fiber. Well, it's also a good source of sugar, glycerin, gelatin. Eat your vegetables for fiber. Fiber, protein, energy bars. Look at all of the ingredients. Garbage. Made with real fruit filling. Yeah, show me the fruit in this ingredients list. All I see is sugar and chemicals. All right, let's move on to the soda and chips aisle. Diet 7-Up. Natural flavors. Show me the natural flavors here. I see chemicals, sodium benzoate, and a lot of artificial sweeteners. Vitamins and water. Good combination, right? Let's flip it over. 32 grams of sugar in one serving. And second ingredient, sugar. Okay, here's a good one. 0 grams of trans fats doesn't mean 0 grams. If a serving size contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fats, it's okay to put 0 grams. All right, crackers made with whole grains. Bonus. Let's turn it over. Second ingredient, vegetable oil and other fillers. All right, one of my favorites, made with real fruit juice. We're talking gummy bears here. First ingredient, second ingredient, third ingredient, fourth ingredient, all sugar. Where's the fruit? Oh, I know, it's in the fruit aisle. Cranberry juice isn't just cranberry juice. Usually mixed in are lower forms of cheaper types of fruit juices. Oh yes, more whole wheat. So we're talking Kraft dinner here. Macaroni and cheese with whole wheat. Must be healthy. I don't think that looks healthy. Alright, no sugar added snack packs. Pudding. No sugar. Alright, let's see what else is in there. Science, experiments, artificial sweeteners, chemicals. Made with whole chicken fillets. Frozen chicken strips. Also made with a bunch of other stuff that we can't even pronounce. Thanks for bringing us those fresh meals. I'll just cook my own chicken breast, thanks. Just because the brand name has healthy in it does not make it healthy. Look at all the bonuses that come with this frozen meal. Even though it says organic on the label, doesn't mean it's healthy. You have to read the ingredients. Look at all that sugar in there. Second ingredient, sugar. High protein, nutritious energy drinks. This one in general, vitamins and minerals. Let's see what's inside. I can't even name half of these things. Filled with chemicals and sugar. Where is the protein? All right, we're in the gluten-free aisle. Gluten-free chocolate cake mix. Still whopping amounts of sugar in there. Potato starch is also really gonna raise your blood sugar levels. Just because it's gluten-free doesn't make it healthy. So there you go, guys. Thanks for coming to the grocery store with me. Hopefully you learned a few things. Don't fall for the marketing. Don't fall for the hype. Read ingredients, read the nutrition label, use your mind, use real foods, and you're gonna be safe in the grocery store. So if you want some recipe ideas on how to cook with real food, check out teamlivelean.com. We upload a new cooking show every single week. There's probably over 55 videos there now. Check that out. Make sure you click like on this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you click subscribe. We do videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday now. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate all the support. We'll see you at the next episode. Keep living lean. Live Lean Nation, on today's episode, I'm sharing.
All right.
So, which one stuck out to any of you guys?
Oh man.
Is there one that stuck out that that tricked you at all?
I don't know any that tricked me. I think I was just more surprised on those in the ingredients. The number of things in there that were clearly artificial, man-made, or clearly, the things we couldn't pronounce. It's like all these additives, and the one thing that's supposed to have claimed it as healthy was this minor little blurb there. I seen on one of them, I can't remember the number, but it had all these ingredients, and then finally it said contains milk.
Right.
Right.
you know. But that's something he said, was stated on the outside aisles. I mean, we've heard that before, don't go in the middle, stay on the outside where the supposedly fresh stuff is at. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway of that is read, read, read. Don't just grab and go.
Right. So I want to ask a question. What's the biggest food labeling lie or loophole you've ever come across? And I'm sending that over into chat to see what you guys think.
I've already done it.
You already got it? All right.
Yep.
You got it up there and pinned already?
Yep.
It's on it. Mr. P doing a job. So yeah, let us know.
Right.
Let us know what's going on out there. Feel free to jump in the comments and tell us what you're thinking. But I mean,
right.
What do you do? I mean, when all that stuff, I like that, Scotty. If you can't pronounce it, I won't touch it.
Right.
And that's probably a fairly safe way to go.
And that's a good point. Are there other types of things beside eat the outside of the grocery? One of the things is look for shorter labels. The shorter that label is, the most likely that it's going to be healthy for you, right?
Well, right.
So if it's got a list about that long, chances are it's got something.
If you pull a box off and it's like a 2-page thing, it's like, let's not get this one. How about that? Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Here's something that that Robbie said. There's so many back doors they can use to make claims, things like organic or natural, and that's something that's true, it's only got to have, the truth in labeling it's like when we were talking about beef in the past, they would put put U.S. beef on there. Well, no, it wasn't. It was from some other country. The only thing is, it came to the U.S. and its final packaging was in the U.S.
Right.
So they got to put U.S. beef on it, and that happens all across a wide spectrum of things, but certainly in here, like that where it said whole wheat. Okay, well, whole wheat was in it, but so was a bunch of other stuff, right? And it's like, my guy over at M&M Farms, when it was talking about dealing with beef, and organic, beef, no, it was grass fed. He said if they just put the words grass fed, then at some point in time in that steer's life, it ate grass. But if it says 100% grass fed, in order for them to be able to claim that, they have to validate it, and it actually has to be 100% grass fed. Now, that's in the beef world over there and what they deal with. But, and Scotty asked a real good question, let's see where am I at here? Is it letting me? There it goes. But can you trust all organics? And I think
I think the answer, yeah, I think the answer to that is no, you can't. You got to turn one of the things that you should always do is if it says organic on the front, turn it over and read the label on the back, because what they can claim as organic, there are loopholes, I guess, with the FDA or the USDA that they're not allowed to claim it unless it meets a certain criteria. But that criteria doesn't mean 100% organic, because if it just simply, I think, what was it, bro? Do you remember that if something, at least during its lifetime, it was something organic or whatever, then they could claim it to be organic, to where there were other things that happened afterwards.
Threshold, the threshold wasn't
Right.
on that, and that's so much of that, and I mean, like the high protein, okay, well, they get their protein from the cheapest possible source. And so, yeah, it says it, but do we trust it? I think that's a big deal, is being able to trust labels, and we don't, we can't. We're learning.
Right.
Like I said, don't ignore marketing, because they're using the key words, and it's and honestly, and I mean, and this, I've been guilty of this. Okay, so when I say this, I'm talking to me. We're in a hurry. We're kind of lazy. We don't really want to be in the grocery store. Of all the places on the planet, most of us don't really want to go there, okay, to the box stores or whatever, because it's with other things we'd rather do. And so what do? We look, oh, looks good, and throw it in a cart without actually taking the time to flip that thing around. I'm looking at serving size to dollar. Can I, am I getting the best deal for my dollar on my serving size versus, this over here? What does it equal out mathematically? Well, what I really need to be doing is flipping over and not just looking at that daily vitamins or daily percentage of this on the serving. Yeah, you need to read, but actually, like I said, taking the time to go down and read those ingredients. So read, and not be in such a hurry to just get out of there. But, now my new focus, and I'm, can't say I'm there, but trying to get, like I said, staying to the outside, not going into those aisles. So this one, Robbie brought this one up. I'm going to throw this up. It says, I've seen a lot of cereals that have low or acceptable by the FDA levels of carcinogenic material. That's plumb scary. That is very scary. And I know that, in industrial food, there's a certain parts per million or parts per whatever that they're allowed certain things. And that's kind of scary, when you get into that. But bro, I don't know. I mean, what happens when trusting or believing these labels have real consequences? Hey,
Have real consequences. Is that what you were saying?
yeah. I mean, what happens?
Right.
Or
Let's
has consequences.
Right. And, let's talk about the liver. It wasn't meant to handle everything that we put at it. Now, it does a pretty good job of cleaning up our mess, if you will. But there's a lot of things that prior to industrialization and major food production and that sort of thing that probably didn't exist in our food supply, that now the liver is now having to handle a lot of that stuff, um, and it only has a certain capacity. So our gluttony of food obviously comes into play here, um, but just the chemical things that go into those food processes, anything from, what soil did, something come from. There's a lot of ingredients, and a lot of those ingredients, even in cereal, all of that originated in the soil. I don't know the person that, that grew that. I don't know what they put on their crops. I don't know what's in the ground to begin with. And by the time it makes through the industrial process, I don't know what survives and what don't. And then you talk about preservatives. Obviously, those types of preservatives, many of them wasn't even in our food supply until the industrialization of big ag, and I'm not demonizing big ag, but because it feeds the world. That was something you was talking about this morning.
Right.
And but I'm afraid we just don't know. So the question becomes not just what's in it and should I trust it or not, but the question becomes, should we look elsewhere for our source of our food? But we're gonna kind of get into that. And bro,
Yeah.
do you want to
Well,
you got anything else to say before we kind of?
No, I kind of want to go ahead and get into this next story, this next video, because I think it's it really it puts a hard line on kind of the importance of understanding labeling, and also the importance of why uh, these food processors, and these companies, and should have to be honest in their labeling.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this next one came from USDA or FDA, but it was one that they put out, and it's well, are you smarter than a food label? Go ahead and roll that there, Mr. Dakota.
Yes, sir. Let me check out the right one here.
Welcome back to Are You Smarter Than a Food Label? The game show that vets the food label knowledge of ordinary, everyday, average people. I'm your host, Label Man, the FDA's graphic representation of the nutrition facts label. Oh, really? Our next contestant hails from the lettuce capital of the U.S. His friends call him Bulldog, but say he wouldn't hurt a fly. All the way from sunny California, please give a warm nutrition facts label welcome to Mr. Tim Patrick. Tim will ask you the question, and you'll have the chance to answer. Or go to the food label. Or simply pass. However, you're allowed only one pass before you're disqualified. Let's get started. First question is multiple choice. A serving size is determined by A, the size of the package it's in, B, a predetermined portion that's easily found on the nutrition facts label, or C, the weight of the person eating that particular serving.
I'll go with B, a predetermined portion that's easily found on the nutrition facts label.
Correct! A package can easily have more than one serving. Remember, the nutrition facts label has the serving size and the number of servings, as well as other important nutritional information. Next question, true or false? The calories section of the nutrition facts label shows the number of calories in that particular package.
I'll have to say true, Label Man.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it shows the number of calories per serving, not per package. Next question. What is the 5-20 rule? A, the formula for the number of calories it takes to run 5 miles in 20 minutes. B, the body's standard burn rate for fat in a food. Or C, a way to tell if a food is low or high in a particular nutrient.
That's easy, Label Man. The answer is C, a way to tell if a food is low or high in a particular nutrient.
That's right. If a food's daily value, or DV, of a nutrient is 5% or less, it's low in that nutrient. 20% or more means it's high. This can be bad or good depending on if it's a nutrient you want more or less of. Can you give me an example of a nutrient on each end of the scale, Tim?
Something like saturated fat would be a good thing to get 5% or less of, I would think. And you probably want a high number, 20% DV or more, or something like calcium or fiber, probably.
Good choices. Other nutrients to get more of include vitamins A, C, and iron. And those to get less of include saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Moving along to our next question, true or false? It's impossible to truly know the nutritional value of a meal when you're away from home. Tim?
Well, I know that many restaurants are including healthy choices on their menus now, like light fares or low sodium or low fat selections. I'm not sure if they include the nutritional value, however. Oh, I did see the nutrition facts listed on a napkin at one takeout place the other day. I'm going to have to go with false, label man.
That's right. Many restaurants and food chains are making the nutritional information available on their websites, their menus at the restaurant, even on the wrappers of their takeout food in some instances. If you can't find it, just ask. Tim, you're doing pretty good so far. You've come down to the final question. Get this one right and you'll win the grand prize. Answer it incorrectly and you go home empty-handed. Are you ready to put it all on the line?
I am, label man.
Okay, here we go. What are the 3 things to remember when making healthy food choices? You have 10 seconds. Okay, Tim, let's see how you answered.
That would be calories, servings, and percent daily value.
That's correct! You're our grand prize winner! Congratulations! Make sure you join us next time on Are You Smarter Than a Food Label? Bye-bye, everybody!
Those guys were entirely too jolly for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it's interesting information, but we're about to give you guys a test about, and you might be thinking, oh, you're going to test us on the things that we just read or heard, watched and heard in that video. That's not it. Okay. That's not it. I'll give you a little bit of a hint here in a second about the answer to what I'm about to ask you, but what was missing in that video?
Sorry.
How about that?
Yeah.
So,
oh, that got me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We'll have to remember that at the expo, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. I'll rehearse between now and then, man. I don't want to let you down, David. So anyway, again, what was missing from this last video? And it's the most important part of reading a label. And Ryan needs one of those label suits, man. Don't we all? Right. And so, go ahead. Let's put 15 seconds on the clock. And you guys over there, tell me what you think. I'm going to give you guys 15 seconds to tell me what you think was the most important thing that was missing off of that video. 15 seconds on the clock. All right. So once again, the question was, what was missing on that video that we just watched? And one more time, the hint was the most important part of reading a label. Okay, I've got one guess over there.
Yeah, we got one
Can I
guess.
get any more guesses over there? One was sugar.
Of course,
Yeah.
Sugar Shane
What
says.
else? Don't trust the labels. Yeah, that's in general. Just don't trust the labels. Yeah, that's good, and that's what David Lacey put up there. So, and apparently, we got Greg and Donna just thinking, what was it? What was it? The most important
We
thing
lose some people when
that
they
was missing on there.
did we lose people when they found out there was a test? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you lose me when somebody tells me there's going to be a test. By the way, there is no fail on this, not really. Okay, he was talking about calories, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, calories were on there, and that's not the answer that we're looking for tonight. Scotty, thanks for playing.
Let's see. What could
And we got any other guesses over there?
I don't know. I'm not. You know, I don't know. People are in the category right there. Oh, wait,
Okay,
well,
Shane.
Sugar
Yeah,
Shane came back in with cholesterol. Good
right.
guess, but I don't think that was it.
Most of those food labels are on there. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds to see if anybody gets it. And I'm not seeing anybody. Don't everybody jump at once here.
No kidding, right?
Right.
Hey,
So
I did.
while we wait on that, I am going to say, David's asking, was there anything about protein on there? Do you remember? That's funny because right now, David, you're testing me.
Well, you know,
Because
it's
right.
a square block with the daily percentages.
Right. The percentages and
Square
everything.
that
So
would be.
right. But contents or ingredients. All right. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. And I don't know. Is that you, Greg, or is that you, Donna, from Duncan Family Farms? Got it right. The contents or ingredients are the most important thing on there because they may not tell you. All of it's important. Okay. But what's in your food, to me, is more important than getting all of those metrics right on the other one, and of course we need those because some people believe in, counting calories. I'm not a calorie counter, but I do want to know that I'm not eating high carb, and I want the protein levels to be there and that sort of thing. So all that stuff is good information. But at the end of the day, look down in the ingredients. Is this something that's healthy for your body? If you don't recognize it, maybe you should just skip it. It was Greg. Okay.
Greg.
Congratulations, Greg. That's it. You should. And also just want to, the Wild Huckleberry, Robbie says how you should read the labels from top to bottom. How should you read them?
Yeah, read the ingredients from top to bottom. Yeah.
Complete side note. I wish I had a soundboard over here just for sound effects now. So
Right, I know. Yeah.
So
read the ingredients from top to bottom. Yep, that's it.
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I might even say flip that upside down and read the ingredients first. Because if there's anything, if it passes the ingredients test, then go on up and see the rest of it, right?
right.
I mean, that's just my opinion. But the point is still the same.
Yeah.
Read the entire label.
Read it all, front, back, sideways. If it's got print, read it. And
right
there. Something that came out of that, bro, that I learned just in watching that video, I'd never heard of, and that was the 5-20 rule.
I agree.
If it's less than 5%, it's low. If it's above 20%, it's high. I'd never heard that. So there you go, learning right on the
5-20 rule. Right.
There you go.
Okay. If you trust what they say, right? So again, read those ingredients.
Absolutely.
So, I want to also ask the audience a question about what is your kind of rule of thumb that you have whenever you're shopping for food? Do you even look at the labels at all? Is it something that you just really don't care about? What's your attitude when you go into the grocery store? You're just going to grab the favorite thing off the shelf and throw it in and get out as quickly as it can. That seems to be something that I'm pretty guilty of. but I do like to look on the ingredients list these days. But anyway, moving along, bro.
Yeah. Hit me with it, man. What's up?
Yeah, let's talk about a little different angle.
Okay.
Now, as a reminder, for those of you who have watched our previous shows, we were getting into the reliance or the self-reliance scale, and moving further to the right on that self-reliance scale. What is one way that you wouldn't have to worry about what's on a label?
I didn't get a timer. Anyway.
No, sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay. No, seriously. Listen, shopping locally, i.e. from farmers markets, i.e. from the farmers directly, from places like that where it is known, or even from a collective store where they vet and where this stuff is coming from. So that'd be my number one answer right there.
Right. And that's exactly right. And let's talk about that just a little bit. And it really gets down to relationship building.
Absolutely.
And it gets down to, and I know this kind of seems like it's taking you in a further direction than what we promised that we were going to cover. We've covered those things, but I want to bring back the finer point of developing relationships with your local farmers, your local ranchers, and your local suppliers, because you can talk to them. And most of them want to talk shop, and they are more than happy to tell you what their growing practices are or their animal raising practices are. And if they're not that happy to share that with you, maybe you don't need to be, maybe you need to look somewhere else. But if I bought something from somebody that I knew, I'm not going to ask that question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about what's in it. If they told me it was there, I'm going to trust them. Right. And so that's one way for us to get around those sort of things. So developing that network. And I want to go over here and address a couple of things that we're saying here because Robbie said, I want to read labels, but I do get caught up in the marketing and buying stuff that I shouldn't.
Yep.
And you're not alone.
No, not at all. And Robbie, here's what I'll say. Those label packages, they're designed that way on purpose. It's marketing. It's made to catch your eye and make you want it. That's the, and I'm, like I said, guilty of it, right there. I'm guilty, and I will say this, something that helps me tremendously. I'm not always able to do it, but as eating before I go grocery shopping. If I'm in there with a full stomach, nothing looks good. Okay. If I'm hungry, everything looks good. And, particularly I get into the chips and dip or the cookie aisle, I might be in trouble. And as we know about Sunday nights, ice cream.
Ice cream aisle. Number one in my, I love the ice cream aisle. It don't love me so much.
But the marketing is designed to do that on purpose. And,
it is. And, my question, is also going to be here toward the end of this about, what are some of the ways that, what do you think that the FDA and the USDA, as far as labeling and everything goes, what do you think should be allowed or disallowed? But before we get to that, Robbie brought something up, and I think this is really, not Robbie, I'm sorry, but Scotty brought something up, and I think that this is really an important topic.
Right.
And he says he has no choice due to medical issues.
Well, I got a question.
All right.
Go any further?
Yeah.
I got a question to Scotty. When you say that is you have no choice but to read the labels and read the ingredients, or you have no choice about the places you have to go to shop to get things? Because that's my question. Is what? Assuming that is, I based on what I would say it's probably you have no choice but to read the labels. but I'm very curious about that because that does bring up a serious issue that people face when they have medical issues. Is choices sometimes being greatly limited, and the importance of knowing what they're taking in and how it can affect their health. So if you're still out there, Scotty.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, that was kind of my question too. Having no choice but to eat, what they told you, and that opened up like a whole other can of worms, and I don't want to take us too far off of what our topic is tonight, but the medical system, is it set up uh, to follow the three-letter agencies more than to take care of our own health. And so it also brings up this importance of us taking control over our responsibility for our own health, right?
absolutely.
And let's see what we got here. Donna says, and this is from Greg and Donna Duncan from Duncan Family Farm, says, Donna says a rule of thumb is to shop the perimeter of the store to stay away from the processed and ultra processed foods. And yes, we've been saying that quite a bit. Eat the outside of the grocery store,
Yeah.
and when possible, buy from your local food sources like your farmer and your rancher, for your meat and for your vegetable, for those things. And think well enough in advance when you're buying stuff, what you're going to do. And of course, Ryan brought up another rule of thumb, and that was, don't go to the grocery store hungry.
Yeah.
And that's really, really true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scotty answered us back. He said he was born with one kid.
Okay.
Has to be very careful. Absolutely. So you've probably been ahead of the read the label game far ahead most of us. But it is, it is a valid statement. And so if things are mislabeled or things are misdirected or flat out just not accurate, that can be dangerous for somebody like Scotty. That can put them in a bad spot and that does lend to that question of what should the rules be? What should be allowed or not allowed in labeling? Because again, somebody's health can depend upon that label being accurate, and having
Well, if I,
in advertising, so to speak.
so, I'd like to ask Scotty also, what are some of the things that he has to be careful of whenever he's considering his health and his particular situation? Are they asking you to do like low sodium? What are they asking you to stay away from?
Yeah,
So,
that.
just go ahead and if you don't mind, put that over there, because I'd kind of like to continue down this little bit of health reasons. And as Bro said, that this really gets to the point of tonight's show, and that is you know the food label lies. How many lies are dangerous, you know, to our friend Scotty here, for example, or for you or anybody else,
Yeah.
and what should they be allowed to get away with? And so,
Well,
and like I say, people are, they're feeding us in these major grocery stores, so I don't want to get too harsh on them,
well,
but
I was going to add to that, and I talked about it this morning, but I want to clarify, and maybe I didn't. I hope I drew the line pretty solidly. There is a difference between the farmer or the producing and growing that's raising this food and the company that's buying it and then turning it to process. There's a difference. Now, I recognize that, we've talked about some of the ways that farming needs to change with chemicals and pesticides and monocrop and unhealthy ways that our food is grown or that could be better. It could improve the quality and everything. But when that farmer, even that one that's going out there, let's just say they're doing things right and it's got nutrients and it's got those things, but then it goes through that processing and it gets all that other stuff added into it. That stuff didn't grow in that food. That stuff was put into that food by the by the processor or the manufacturer, if you will, the food corporation put in there. Now, some of it's by FDA mandate and some of it's by wanting to add flavor, wanting to make it taste a certain way, man, to make it look a certain way, right? And then of course preservatives themselves. So we need to differentiate that what's grown and what hits the store shelf are not always the same thing when it comes to that type of food. I think it's
Right.
difference. But understand this: food companies don't care if you're healthy. They only care if you buy their product. That's it. You know, and you know that's business. They care if you buy their product. Your health is your responsibility, not theirs. Is the way they answer
Right.
that. You know.
Right. And they're beholden to their investors. Am I wrong?
Right.
Those big food companies, they're trying to turn a profit because they owe it to those investors in order to turn that profit. So what are they willing to do? I don't necessarily think that they're out there to do something really evil to you, but what are they willing to do to turn a profit, becomes the question in that way. And so
Let's
um
finish up Scotty's right there. Okay. Well, you're going to get Robbie's. Okay. All right.
okay, well,
It don't matter. We can go either way.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm going to go with Scotty because I just want to finish up with that because he's the big list of things I have to stay away from is low sodium
Right.
and certain cheese. Okay.
Now, the
Low
low
sodium and
yeah,
certain cheese.
yeah, because of the work that it does to the kidney and that type of stuff. So I can understand that. Um,
Yeah.
but a big list of things. Okay. Imagine so with
Right.
just the low sodium alone puts you on a big list of things. Um, yeah. Let's go. And so, yeah, Scotty, I mean, that's, I hate that you've got that condition, but I'm sure it makes you very, very astute and very aware of what's in food and the necessity of reading those labels and everything. We'll go back. Let's go back up to Robbie up there.
Okay. You got it?
I'll get it. Yeah. Well, well, Mr. P
Maybe
was
you will.
okay.
I,
One sad fact is that the food that is better for you costs more. The cheap stuff has so much junk in it. Many people can't afford the better stuff. Yes and no.
You know,
Go ahead, though, bro. Say what you
yeah. Well, of course, I think what people generally answer whenever you start talking about, being more costly for healthy food, they will say, "Well, it depends." If you get sick and have to go to the doctor, what does that cost you? That's kind of the line of reasoning. But cost is a factor, and it's becoming more and more so. And we can't ignore that with the price of eggs going absolutely insane through the roof and the price of just about everything
which is
else on the grocery store. It's not like we can just ignore it.
Right.
None of, at least in my family, none of us can ignore the price of food. It's one of the biggest ticket things that we have on our monthly bill, right? And so but yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. You got something on that?
I mean, I do agree, but as I have began to look, it's not that big of what I have seen. I'm not, every place is different and everybody, yeah, okay, he even said that. Let me clarify. People don't feel like they can afford the better stuff. Okay.
Oh boy, that gets into something that you and I talk about all the time, bro. Facts don't care about your feelings. Feelings don't care about the facts.
Right. He, you know, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But here's what I'll say. I'll say back to that. I'll push back on this a little bit.
Okay.
And Scotty, we're going to get to that because what you just typed up there is super good. It's really not, but it's marketed that way. They intentional because it's what is pushed, what's promoted. Some of the things that are put out there, it's sold on convenience. It's sold on those things. What we're really giving up is convenience. When you take raw food, I can go buy real chicken and real food, and I can actually make more than I can if I get that little box or package. I mean, if you really get down to it. So when you divide it, but it's where you buy. You go to the box store and try to buy healthy, or you go to a store that like one that's up in the north up there where Scotty's at, Trader Joe's, right? And it's out in California in the West and that type of stuff too. That's a big health food store, huge marketed health food store, and it is healthy. but it does cost more. My experience, and when I was in California, of going to Trader Joe's, it did cost more than going and buying the prepackaged stuff that was already, done. And so I think it does. But again, what do you get out of it? How much can you take from that? Versus buying a prepackaged thing. So I really think that, and especially with the changes in pricing that's been caused by certain things, I don't think we're that far apart from each other anymore. That's my, it's $6 and something cents for a dozen of eggs at our Walmart down here. Well, I can buy those I can buy those all natural from somebody down the street selling eggs for a lot less than I'm paying that box store. And it's a better egg. So I think
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That brought up a question because this is one that I've been wanting to ask, and find out about. And that is that if the prices in the overall market's going up, are the locals trying to go up with it to kind of meet that same level? Eggs is one thing, and like, for example, I went to the meat shop one time and I said, how do you guys determine prices? And they said it's set by the market, right? And so it's not like your local, necessarily the local butcher is going to be lower because he got meat, even if it's USDA and he got it on a local level.
Well, that's what I said. A lot of that, and like even our meat, when I say butcher, the butcher shop I go to sometimes, they get their product from somebody. They don't raise the cow. I mean, they're not, growing and raising that. It's coming from a source, and that source is on market. So they have no choice but to be at market because of what their costs are, right? And they source theirs from somebody who delivers it to them. So that's a little different than, say, eggs, fresh produce, things that people make from home. And I am not, listen, if you make stuff from home to sell, or you raise chickens, or you raise pigs, or you raise cows, or whatever, listen, I'm not going to belittle your work. It's hard work. I want you to get the fairest market value. I want you to get the fairest price, and you keep the most of it in your pocket that is humanly possible. Okay. And Joel Salatin said this. He said, if the price of eggs were actually keeping up with inflation and wages, it'd be $28 a dozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
We want to gripe about $6 a dozen, and I understand. I just paid it. Okay, I understand. But it's not kept up with inflation. It's not kept up with the prices of everything else. So I kind of think that's, we get into that, again, marketing and things being presented a certain way that we take as, and this egg shortage is created. I'm sorry, I'll say my hat on. This is a fabricated, created shortage because they're mass killing of these egg layers over this avian influenza, which, as we've talked about on the show before, man tinkered with. Well, if you take away these layers, it's going to create a shortage in the market, which is going to drive prices. It's just the old supply and demand. It's just being manipulated. And it's using something that is falling into that. And so, you want to get around eggs, find you somebody local. Find you a local supplier of eggs. Because at least down here where I'm at, it's cheaper.
Yeah, I can imagine that at this particular point it is. If the price of eggs continue to go up, I don't know how long that even the local suppliers can remain at the lower prices, because everybody would bombard them, right, for their supply. So it's a supply and demand issue. Right. And so, I mean, for now, get them while you can is what I would say about that.
Raise them yourself.
Yeah.
I want to hit something real quick. I know we're getting up against the clock, but Scotty, look at what food pantries give people. None of their food is healthy, and that is the thing. It's kind of one of those things. You're grateful for the food pantries because you're in time of need, and they're helping people in a moment of need. But a lot of that food is donated by food processors or food manufacturers or grocery stores in a local area, and it's their overstock or because they're only allowed to keep it on their shelves for so many days. So it's overstock. It's been in the cooler for a long time. They got to move it, And that's what they're doing. So yeah, it's coming processed and packaged, and the food banks really don't have a lot of choice but to accept these things because that's what they survive on, you know. But yeah, Scotty, you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, I remember when we ran a food pantry, some of the stuff that was going in there, hey, the people were grateful for it because they needed help, you know. But some of it wasn't the best. Yeah, it wasn't the most nutritional, healthy food that they could have got, you know. And that goes to something we've talked about should churches or could churches be involved in food hubs and that type of thing where they're
Mm-hmm.
getting healthy food from local producers to give to people. That's a whole other show. That's a whole other,
Yeah.
but I think it's something worth exploring. But wow, well, we covered
Right.
food tonight.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. And so, yeah, we got to get this wrapped up tonight. And I just want to thank everybody for showing up tonight and uh, entertaining us. And,
few of them.
and, but I just want to, you know, ask you guys a question. What do we got here? Oh, okay. So, Greg and Donna, the medical field is focused on dollars, not the people. It's a step towards socialist medicine. Um, it has turned into that. It really has. And yeah, thank you for that. And that's everybody. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. We could really use it. But the you know, the thing that we hit on tonight that really gets me in the feels is this whole with food going up, and we want to afford uh, good, healthy foods, um, but it's hard because it's not just food that's going up. Everything else around us going up. Everything is going up, and you know, just a little personal story here. You know, whenever I was in my 30s, you know, I told myself, don't depend on Social Security when you get older. And it's just my personal story. And so I set out to, you know, invest in real estate, and I hit a certain number, and I thought, you know, this ought to carry me through. This is a pretty good, you know, decent amount of money that we can live on every month. I'm 63 now. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure in the next 6 or 7 years at this rate that's going to be a good retirement at all.
Right.
And so, you know, for those of you out there who are living on fixed incomes, and especially whatever Social Security you got, this is a whole different other show, and I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get off into that rabbit hole, but it's not enough.
No.
With the inflation that we see going on right now, if it continues down this path. And by the look at the political environment right now, don't look like it's going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better is what I'm afraid of.
Well, you know, that's something me and you talked about, that, you know, with the things going on, budgetary wise, the things going on in the government, the things going on right now, you know, we're going to have to go through a period of pain. It's like medicine. It's like bad medicine. You know, medicine don't taste good. And we're going to have to go through a period of pain before we see the other side if it's allowed to be carried out. Now, you know, like I said, that is a whole different show. You know, so listen, folks, take this with you. Just the next time you're shopping, flip the package over, flip the can around, you know, flip the box. Take the time to read the label. If you make an informed decision and you pick up that bag of ho-hos and walk out the door with them, that's your informed decision. But it needs to be advertised on there what's in there, you know. And I mean, you know,
Right.
I picked that just because it's a funny one to me. But you know, but that's the whole thing. You know, informed consent, informed end user, and you know, the more of that information, we shouldn't be able to have to worry about not being able to trust what's on that box, on the back, and the ingredients.
Right.
Ignore the marketing. So, bro, what was that final question you had? I know you mentioned it, so let's get that in there before we get out of here.
Yeah. What do you guys think that should be allowed on these labels? The certain kind of practices that should or should not be allowed on labels. In other words, should we give a little bit of forgiveness for marketing because they've got to make sales? So that's the overall question. What do you guys think should or should not be allowed on a label?
Mr. P, can you tag that in and get that pinned up?
I'm working on it because the way we have is what should be done about misleading food labels.
Okay, we'll go with
This is
that.
the way we
Right.
have-
Now I want
it's the way
to,
we-
but I'm going to put that down in the comments. So I want to know in the comments after the show what you guys think should or should not be allowed on a food label. Should they be able to have these deceptive practices off? It's any least deceptive. Okay. Or that gallon of Rocky Road ice cream.
Oh, you mentioned
Oh,
Rocker Ice Cream. I have a
leave me
gallon right
alone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. It's making us think too.
now. Yeah.
So I want to put that and pin it, Mr. P, in the top of the comments, not
Done.
in just in chat, but in the comments section below. Okay, so we can do that after the show and pin that up there for me.
Right.
But a little bit about what's going on in the morning. Have you already chose a topic for the morning show? And I want you guys to remember in the morning with Ryan at 6 o'clock every Monday through Friday is the Farm to Table Direct Show morning edition, which I'm growing to becoming a little bit addicted to. It's kind of become my morning ritual now to whether I'm actually there live or not. I get up and I watch it. And so, okay. So Robbie, it said, I know I'm stuck on this one, but they shouldn't be allowed to rename things to make it sound less bad. Put that in the comment section below and let's use that as a fire starter and see if we can get something going in chat on that because
that's right. Well, listen, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., I will be live tomorrow. It won't be Memorex, Ryan, for those who know.
You said that last night too.
Well, the night before. Well,
the night before, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Monday, and they changed my work schedule, but it hasn't changed as of 8:06 p.m. So I think we're good.
Okay.
No, it will be live, not Memorex. Anyway, you're going to love this one, folks. Hold on to your hat for just a second. Tomorrow's topic. Here we go. You're being watched. Yes, even the private parts.
Whoa. And you're going to leave us with that? You mean I got to sleep on that one tonight?
Absolutely. You got to sleep.
And
I'm just going to say
yay for live, Ryan. Thank you, Robbie. Yeah, you're right. Yay for live, Ryan. So, and then I just want to remind you guys or let you guys know that, we've also started something a little bit different. And that's called Food for Thought, which is a storytelling podcast, which is on the Farm to Table. And look out for those things because we're trying to get some personal stories on some of the things that we're learning of real people, if we can possibly find real people that have real situations and the things that they've done to rectify it. And it brings the attention to what we want to, the matters that we want to bring to the forefront of your thoughts. And so anyway, be looking for that. And once again, that's called the Food for Thought podcast. And it could be me on it or it could be Ryan. These are pre-recorded. And so it's not going to be something that is actually live. So anyway, look out for that and look out for the morning edition Monday through Friday, 6 a.m.
We'll be there in the morning with that interesting topic. But anyway,
bro, let's take us out of here, man.
Get on out of here. Well, okay. Well, first and foremost, thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. Thanks for participating, making this show what it is, helping us, help you. Be participating is a way to go. We need y'all to hit, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit the share. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Rumble. Those are the things. By helping share this and helping get the word out, it's more people get this message, and it helps get the word out, helps us be a source of information to more people. And as Scotty has said, yes, remember our hashtag, we are stronger together. It does take the entire community. It takes us all working together to affect change and to get the message out. So we appreciate that very much. Again, we will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on the Farm to Table Direct Show. And, of course, as it was already said, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., the Farm to Table Direct Show morning edition. Hope you join us there for that. And, folks, you are now smarter than a food label. Okay.
Yes.
Been given the information. You are now smarter than the food label. Take that knowledge
Congratulations.
and put it to work. Okay. It doesn't do any good.
You all passed.
You all passed, by the way. Doesn't do any
You'll
good to
get
have
your diplomas later.
doesn't do any good to have knowledge if you don't use it. So folks, listen, we appreciate you again. Thank you very much. And just remember, we're all on the same team out here. Go out and be a blessing to people. Go out and do good and be a blessing where you know to, and give somebody a smile. Anyway, as we end every episode of the Farm to Table Direct Show, here we go. Prepare for the unexpected and
Keep it local.
yes, that's it.
Hank, take us out of here.
humans
Take
were
it away,
harmed
Hank.
in the production of this podcast.